Yo, what's up? What's up, everybody? We are going live today from Uncle Ren's Popcorn in South Dakota Mall with Coach Ren's. But we are going to talk about, I'm going to give people a few minutes to get on. I know it's in the morning. I never hardly tell people when I'm doing a live broadcast. I'm going to get better at that, at having an actual schedule. So I want you guys to hold me to it about having a schedule. But today, we're going to talk about secret societies and conspiracies and that sort of thing. Let me know when you come into the channel. Say hello, how you doing? Um, yeah, so we're going to talk about secret societies. This is kind of sad, but yesterday was the first time ever I watched the movie Eyes Wide Shut. Yep, first time I've ever seen the movie Eyes Wide Shut. I know y'all might talk about me. You think that I probably would have seen that movie. What's up, Charles? How you doing? But yep, first time in my life I've seen the movie Eyes Wide Shut. It's a good movie too. I'm not a big, huge Stanley Kubrick fan, which is one I've never seen the movie Eyes Wide Shut. I've always heard about it. I know what the when people say it, what it means when they say Eyes Wide Shut. But never watched the movie. I never seen it until yesterday. Yesterday was a very slow day, so while I was doing some mind-numbing work that doesn't require much of my attention, I decided to watch this movie Eyes Wide Shut, and to see what this is all about, see what the big deal is. And then, of course, if you go to Good Morning Dee, you go to YouTube, and you can find all kind of conspiracy videos about the movie Eyes Wide Shut. And so I was just like, okay, there are tons of conspiracy videos, so let me listen to a few of them. And it reminded me of how some years ago, I mean, I was big time into conspiracy videos. If I saw a video, a conspiracy video about the government, about a secret society this or a secret society that, I was big time in it. Now I'm going to tell you guys a little secret though, and this may go ahead and cause a lot of people to stop listening right now. One of my fascinations with secret societies was the fact that I wanted to be a part of one. I wanted to be a part of it. You know why? Because I want to know what's going on. I want to know all the secrets. See, I'm just so inquisitive that I want to know all the secrets. I want to know all the mysteries. I mean, that's one reason why I've studied so many things of ancient cultures and ancient civilizations and religions and societies, is because I have this huge thirst, this hunger to know. I mean, the first thing I ever wanted to be was an anthropologist when I was a kid. I remember being like 3, 4 years old wanting to be an anthropologist, but there weren't many black anthropologists that I knew of. And the first time I met one when I was in high school, he made it sound like it was such a horrible, horrible job that I stopped. I didn't want to. I didn't pursue being an anthropologist. But I just have that kind of a desire to know things. So, of course, when you have that kind of desire to know things and to know ancient things, you find yourself sometimes getting caught up into some of these ancient, some of these conspiracy theories and that sort of thing. Now, what are some of the top secret organizations and religions and cults and all those kind of things? I mean, I want you guys to help me out on this one. I mean, let's start out. The first one, is the Illuminati. The Illuminati. Now, first, I want to say all these secret societies, secret organizations, they really do a horrible job at being secret. I mean, there are so many conspiracy videos of people, and I'm being sarcastic, people who they know so much about these secret societies, but yet, how are these societies secret? I mean, the Illuminati, what is it, Adam Weishaupt, I'm probably saying the name wrong, Adam Weishaupt, he started it in Bavaria. When I was in Germany, I straight went to Bavaria. I lived in the state of Bavaria when I lived in Germany, but I straight would go and try to find out as much about that as possible. He started the Illuminati. His goal was to infiltrate all levels of government and to make the world, and his idea was to make the world better. It wasn't so much to destroy the world. He wanted to make the world better. But then in secret societies became illegal. So he had to leave, and he left. And then I think Isaac Weishaupt is this a relative of his, came to America and supposedly started the Illuminati here in America. Now, and all these entertainers and sports people and government people are all part of the Illuminati, right? So you got the Illuminati. And then the Illuminati are supposed to be warring against other secret societies. And see, all these wars and all these things are going on because other secret societies, the Bilderberg groups, and all these people are fighting one another for world domination because each one of them believe they know how to make the world a better place. And then, but if you go even further back, we got other secret societies that's supposed to be evil, and I'm not gonna get to the number one that everybody always loved to jump on yet, even though Charles already said it. So thanks for messing me up, Charles. But you had the Pythagoreans, right? And the Pythagoreans were, they said that the general masses aren't mature enough, equipped enough, smart enough to be able to know the knowledge of the universe. So we must know it and then control the people through it. So this was by Pythagoras, and of course Pythagoras, he's traveled all over Mesopotamia and Egypt and some parts of Asia to gather as much knowledge and wisdom as he possibly could. Then went and understood that mathematics were the key to the universe, and well, one of the keys to the universe, and went back to Croton and began his school and created the Pythagoreans. So, and then Socrates, Plato, all these kind of people. But Greece basically came out of being just hunter-gatherers and developed their civilization because of Pythagoras and what he brought to them. They advanced. So you got that kind of stuff going on. Now, then you got Freemasons. Oh, that's the one right there. That's the one. Now, some people, they start Freemasonry off in the when in the 1700s when the lodge in England started Freemasonry. Some people go all the way back. Some people go back to the Crusades when the Knights Templars were. We know that you were told that they were going there to protect pilgrims on their way, but we know that they were searching for treasure and searching for knowledge. So the Knights Templar, and then when they found something, they came back and presented it to the Pope, and the Pope gave them all this unbridled power, and they became the bankers of Europe. And then when the King of France and Pope, I think it's either Leo or Urban, one of them things. I think it's Urban the second. One of them popes decided we're gonna kill all the damn the Knights Templars because they too powerful, and we're gonna say that they've been pissing on the cross and worshiping John the Baptist's head and all these kind of things, whatever they said. And this is, we just had a Friday the 13th a couple days ago, and this happened on Friday the 13th, and I think it's like 13 something or something like that. And then the Knights Templars who survived, they most of them, they joined the Knights of Malta, and they joined the Bilderberg. They've infiltrated all these other groups, the Masonic groups and all these. They became all of that. And so they've been running the world in secret. So you had that, and you had De Molay, who would not give up the secrets of Masonry, and so they burned them with some slow-burning wood on the stake. So you got all these kind of things with the Freemason. But then you go back further in Freemasonry, you also find it in Egypt with the pyramid builders and the temple builders. You'll find it in Solomon in Mesopotamia with Solomon's temple builders, and you go back to the Sumerians and you find it with the Sumerian temple builders and all the builders, right? Hence Masonry, which is why you have Freemasonry. You have free and accepted Masonry. You have ancient free and accepted Masonry. You got different ones, but they follow the same code. Majority of myself and majority of the members of my family are Masons. But we're all evil. We're all worshiping the devil. I'm sure I'm going to lose some subscribers right there just with that one. But it always interests me when I see people making conspiracy videos about Masons and they've never been one and don't even know the half of it. And they're just going based on this, like get a little sticking point here for all these secret societies. And of course you got the bourgeoisies, and you got the Divine Nine and other fraternities and sororities and all that kind of stuff. But First thing is, people need to stop talking about secret organization if you don't know much about it. If it's a secret organization, okay, let me give you two main secret organizations that I have a ton of knowledge on because I've been actually a part of them. Right? The Illuminati got your mind, soul, and body. See, okay, so as a young Marine, after taking a litany of tests, I was, what's the word I want to use? You know what? Let me use a good word, make people really think I'm evil. I was indoctrinated. I was indoctrinated into certain government services because of a skill set that I tested well on. Now, because I tested well and then I developed that skill set and went through training. Well, first I developed it. Then I went through training after they saw how it was developed. And then after that, they decided they was going to put me into the work. Okay. Now, in doing this work, I had billets and I had authorizations into levels of government that no one of my rank should have ever had. That no one of my rank should ever do. And as the matter of fact, throughout the entire military during that time frame, there was only 13 of us who were, 13, the 13 families. Forgot about that group, the 13 families, you know. But I had a lot of privileged information as far as the government was concerned. Now, most of the things that I knew back then, we're talking about in the 90s, have been declassified, so it's no big deal now. You know, I've been authorized. I used to go to meetings like every month, where they would tell me what's been declassified and what's not, and I would have to report everybody that I come in contact with, everybody I work with. I actually had to leave a job because of a relative of somebody who worked at that particular job, and I was told I had to leave that job because I couldn't be in the same proximity of anybody relatable to that family. So it is what it is. But are there levels of things that go on in the government that is beyond, that they don't ever tell you? Sure there are. But I guarantee you, if I told you some of the things that went down, some of the things that happened, and then you found out, and if you knew then, oh, you would tear up the government. You'd be in protest. You'd be running around. This is so horrible. This is so wrong. But there were certain things that were done. If they weren't done, then we would have been plunged into World War III very easily. Very easily. Y'all think this Afghan stuff and there are some things that happened in the 90s that had and if y'all found, if you knew what was done, you'd be like, oh, that was so wrong, and that's illegal, and that's this, and that's that. But if it hadn't been done, then we be in World War III. You know, it goes to that adage that if you can travel back in time and kill Adolf Hitler, would that have saved, you know, the world, the Western world from being plunged into World War II? You know, if based on black people. But if you wouldn't, if you killed Hitler, now some people say, well, it could have given rise to someone else. But if you kill Hitler, would Stalin have come up? Would I think it's Yamamoto, would he have come up? Or would we have not been plunged into World War II? Would the wrong? We don't know, but I can tell you this, since it's 2018, that what was done in the 90s saved a lot of lives. It saved way more lives than you can imagine. It saved economies. It saved government. We would probably be reeling from the after effects if this person would have been allowed to live. So, and yeah, somebody got killed. But if this person, what that person was planning on doing as a government leader, it would have plunged the world into a war that was like no side would win. So when people have their little conspiracies, they MK Ultras and all this kind of stuff, does the government work on those kinds of things? Sure they do. Does other organizations work on those? Those scientists work on those kind of things? Sure they do. Are those things affecting your life today? More than likely not. More than likely not. So when we look, and another organization, Freemasons. And here's it, and I want to put both of them together, government and Freemasons. Are there Freemasons who have done evil things in this world? Sure. But are there Freemasons who have done wonderful things in this world? Yes. It works on both sides. Jesse Jackson, Martin Luther King, Freemasons. Freemasons, and some people say, well, they were government trolls or MK Ultras and they worked for the CIA and this sort of thing. Maybe they did. Maybe they didn't. But let me ask you a question. Since black people were enduring Jim Crow laws, without the civil rights movement in America, where would we be? Where would we be? Is everything always going to be squeaky clean? No. Nothing in your life is squeaky clean. So why would anything in anyone's life or any situation, government or otherwise, be squeaky clean? It won't be. But we love these secret organizations. So they were Freemasons. Was John Smith, and I'm gonna do a whole video about this one. John Smith, I think it's John Smith. Yeah, John Smith, Mormon dude, the guy who started Mormon. He was a Freemason. Yes, he was. Did he say that black people were that you were black because there's two reasons you're black, according to the Mormons. Even though they denounced this now, this was Mormon doctrine for a couple of, for what, at least 100, 200 years. There was a war in heaven between the two brothers, Jesus and Lucifer. And those who fought with Lucifer, they turned to demons. Those who fought with Jesus, they stayed white. Those who were just kind of like, we're neutral, their curse was to be black. And then when they were sent to earth, they were black. Then Marcon King, we're gonna do a whole nother video on that. So, but yeah, the Mormons, that's some funny stuff. That's some crazy stuff. And when I saw this video of two girls, two women who were black Mormons, and I'm like, idiots, like complete idiots. And usually I don't call people name things like that. That's idiocy, complete idiocy, to be that. But anyway, so good guy. You know, most people would say Dr. King was a good guy. He was a Freemason. Most people would say that John Smith is horrible. He was a Freemason. There are plenty of other people you can name who were Freemasons who did horrible things, and those who did good things. Yeah, and the curse of Ham. I know it's, you know, black people just can't catch a break. But you have to understand, in every organization, Freemasons, Bilderberg groups, the Bohemian Grove, all these groups are products of the environment. They all change and are different depending upon the culture that they're in. I went to a conclave a few years ago. There were Freemasons from all over the world who were there, right? Yeah, Marcus Garvey was a Freemason. That's right. But and a whole bunch of black people celebrate Marcus Garvey, and I agree with Marcus Garvey. We do. That's why I got the whole Botswana thing we propping up. But you made me lose my train of thought. Thank you very much, there. Who wrote that? Black culture. I got y'all on. I want to see you on here too. But the thing, and we're doing this for an hour. What's up, Alexander? But we have so there are evil people, there are good people, in every category. Oh, product of their environment. So if you were a Freemason in the 1800s, 1700s, 1800s, and you were in America and you were a white guy in the South, you thought slavery was okay because that was your culture. And of course, black people couldn't be Masons back then until Prince Hall went over to get a charter from England. But slavery was good. Slavery was built on the back of the Bible. It was right. It was good. It was correct. That's the way God wanted things to be. So just because slave owners were Freemasons, and even though Freemasons, the mission of Freemasonry is to make good men better, those white slave owners thought that they were good men. So Masonry was making them better, and they were upholding God and Masonry. John Smith, even though he had this thing, said that he was divinely inspired. And see, that's that whole divinely inspired crap. I'm divinely inspired that black people are black because they didn't fight in the war in heaven, and they are the descendants of Cain, right? They divinely inspired. But look at the time frame they grew up. Black people were considered lazy, and they were subhuman and all that. And I forgot the other guy who came out. I think Brigham Young said a whole bunch of stuff like that too. So these people, they're products of their environment. That's their culture of their time. So that's how they spun things and said things. That's what their mindset. So regardless of being a Freemason, it was their culture that determined more of their attitude and their actions. Their culture, their time frame, not what secret society mean, they say, I can't wait for discussion on the Mormons, just looking into the Mormon involvement with Kim. Yeah, Mormons are something special. And they spreading. They spreading. But you're not going to get bogged down with Mormons. Even though this video does say religion, so let me not say that. But the thing about it is, why do we get caught up into these things? Why are we so caught up into secret organizations? Why are we so caught up in conspiracy theories and religions and even the mystery schools and all this historical stuff? And why do we argue and we fight and we got to prove our point? We got to be right. We got to be right. You know, there's a reason why, you know, I can't get ahead. There's a reason why, you know, they got chemtrails that they spraying over our heads on the airplanes. There's, you know, the earth is flat, it ain't round, and the moon landing was fake, and all that. We get so caught up into all these things. Let me ask you guys a question. If the moon landing was fake, and you found out today that it was fake, how would that change your life? How would that make your life any different? Would that make your life any different? Alexander said, I feel that it's something that other people don't know. Yeah, and we're going to get to that. We're going to get to that. But with the moon landing, if it was found out that it was fake, would it change your life? I mean, if they came out today and say the moon landing was fake, you know, all those, Stanley Kubrick, he filmed it on a soundstage in Utah. It was fake. Here, would all of a sudden your relationship with your spouse get better? Would your children all of a sudden become better kids? Would you now have more money in your pocket? What really would it matter if you found out today that the moon landing was fake? What would it matter if you found out that the CIA, FBI conspired together and shot JFK? Would it change your life? It really wouldn't. Are you going to overthrow the government? Are you going to start picking arms and war against the government now because you find out that the government killed JFK? Exactly, Dee. We have to focus on what helps and change and moves us forward. But would it matter to you? It really doesn't. It really doesn't. It doesn't matter to you at all. It doesn't matter that much at all. Your local politician has more to do with your life than you. Than Trump. But everybody will argue and fuss about what that man is doing. And I'm gonna go ahead and tell y'all something. Y'all can get mad at me. I was delusional. Coming up, you know, getting into business, it wouldn't change my life, but it would be more of a validation on how far it goes. Yeah, it would. It would. That's what it would give you. It would give you more awareness. It would give you more awareness. That's all it would give you. And hopefully with that awareness, you're able to do better with your life, right? You're able to make better decisions with your life because now you have more awareness. But I can tell you, no matter what country you go to, there are always high-level things that are going on that you will never be privy to. Never. Even when you get to high level, there are still things going on that you would not be privy to. I wrote some reports and things like that about hypotheses of what I thought could happen or what should happen or how we can make some changes when I was working in the Marine Corps. And because there were levels of things that I didn't understand and didn't know what was going on, and when they said no to my stuff, I was like, well, why? But then later on, when I got a little bit more, a little higher, I found out why. Oh, that wasn't a good idea now that I know this information. So there's always something more. There's always more to the story. But the thing that's gonna make y'all say, all right, let me see if there's 19 people watching right now. Let's see if it dropped. So I've always been interested in entrepreneurship. Love business people. I've never had a hatred for any business person, any millionaire, billionaire. I've never had a hatred for rich people. I've never looked at rich people as they've done something wrong and evil to become rich. I've always admired and loved rich people because they are doing something that I want to do, being something that I always plan on being. So of course, one of the people who I studied and books I've read coming up in the 80s and 90s was Donald Trump. Yep. Eyes wide open. Yeah, I wanted to title this "Eyes Wide Shut," but YouTube wouldn't let me make the long title that I originally wanted. But I used to study Donald Trump when I was coming up in the 80s and 90s. I studied Donald Trump like a big dog. He had the golden touch. Read all of his books. Got all his books. Up, dropped down to 18. Got all his books. Studied that. Up, dropped down to 17. You studied. So when Ross Perot was running for office, I straight was voting for Ross Perot in the primary. That was the first time I think that was the first time I ever signed up as a Republican just so I can vote for Ross Perot, right? We all changed for the better. So I wanted to vote for Ross Perot, and I did. I was like telling people about Ross Perot. I wanted a business person to run this country because I saw career politicians who had no ideas about business just running this country into the ground. So I wanted a business guy. So Ross Perot was my dude, but he lost. And I think we got Clinton after that. And as a military person, man, more of my Marines wind up being on welfare and food stamps during the Clinton era than you can shake a stick at. So, hated Clinton, right? Oh, you got to go on the train? All right, I understand. I was on the train this morning myself. So then, here comes Trump. So, of course, I have been your 401k plan. You know, we can talk about them forward. You got to check out one of my videos. There's something better you can do with your 401k. I need you to roll that over into something different. So when I do another financial, let's talk about that. That 401k is not in your best benefit. And I gave some people some bad advice on 401ks because they were so invested. But now that I think about it, we all need to get out of 401ks. Anyway, I'm losing people because I'm talking about Trump. So I wanted Trump. When he first said he was running, I was like, yes, another business person gonna run this country like a business. So we're gonna get it. No, not a Roth IRA, but there are IRAs you can get, but we got to do that different. That's a different lesson to talk about when we talk about finances. But that damn Trump, I wanted Trump. I was so like, and I read all his books, even though I knew they was written by ghostwriters. I was like, he's the man. He gonna do government. He gonna run this government like a business. The government's not gonna be in debt. Because y'all gotta understand, I used to manage the government's budgets, and I used to be a financial fraud investigator. So I used to see just money being wasted left and right. He gonna run it. He gonna do it like a business, right? Golden Touch man gonna get it. He done went through bankruptcy and came back. Then he got up there and spoke for the first time, and I was defending him. I was like, okay, what he really meant and what people don't know is that when the prisons get filled up in Mexico, they ship they take all of them out at prison and they put them on the border and they give them a comic book, tell them how to get into America. That's what he really meant. That's what he really meant. And then he kept talking, and I was like, okay, well, what he actually meant was, and then after about 2 months of that, I was like, okay, who the hell is this man? Because this is not the guy that I've been reading about. This is not the guy I've been studying. This is not the guy in The Art of the Deal. This is not the guy in Never Quit, Never Give Up. This is not the guy I've been reading about. Who the hell is this? So even though y'all mad with him, I'm hurt. It's like for the first time when you find out that your parents lied, you're hurt. It's like, what? My parent is not as great as they are? I was just like, this ain't the dude I have been studying. Who the hell is this? And he just keeps proving that over and over again. But I just lost my whole train of thought on that one. Oh, the more you learn more. You learn more. And these people who are, when we talk about these conspiracy theories and these secret societies, exactly, Alexander. We have to remember that we don't know. Most of these people who are talking about them have no idea of what's going on in these secret societies. They have no idea of what they do. They see surface stuff and they extrapolate certain things. Now, a lot of them are caught up in their religion and they say, oh, well, if you're a Mason, then you worship a goat, right? The Baphomet. You do realize that the Baphomet wasn't around when Masonry was first started. There was no such thing as a Baphomet back then. So that's like, just because people like Aleister Crowley and I forgot the French guy who actually created the Baphomet, because the Church of Satan took on the Baphomet, all of a sudden that's what that is. And then if you're a Hermetic like me, then because the Baphomet is doing the as above, so below sign, oh, you're worshiping the devil. And of course, I don't believe that the devil exists, so it don't really matter. The devil is inside you. So is God. So the good and the evil is inside you. So hey, you the devil. What does the old African proverb say? I read Trump and Robert Kiyosaki. I did that, man. Now if I find out Robert Kiyosaki crazy, I don't know what I'm gonna do with myself. But anyway, so people have taken. We look at recent history and we don't look deeper into history. If the Masons were worshiping the devil or worshiping the Baphomet, but Masonry had been around for thousands and thousands of years before the Baphomet. How is that possible? Logically, it doesn't match up, right? If Masonry started in Egypt and Samaria, then how can it be have been started by the English? And how can it be started in England? It wasn't. The England just adopted it and westernized it. That's it. If you can be if you could be Muslim and Jew and any other religion, as long as you have a belief that there is a supreme deity, there is an infinite intelligence, that's all you have to be amazed. You don't have to. This is why the Prince Hall Masons have such a hard time, because Prince Hall Masons, well, one of the reasons Prince Hall Masons say that most of them say you have to be Christian in order to become a Mason, which goes against Masonry. All right. Now there are some nowadays, and as I said, they change based on culture. These organizations change based on how the culture changed. Nowadays, you have Prince Hall Masons who are not saying that you have to be Christians and you can be Muslim, because a large black community is Muslim now. A large community is becoming more conscious, so they're going to have to change up if they want to stay within Masonry. But this is also why a Prince Hall Mason will have a difficult time going to other Masonic lodges to visit because of that issue. Now, there are some other issues as well that Prince Hall Masons face, but the fact of the matter is, to be a Mason, you as long as you believe that there is a divinity, and guess what deity you can't worship in Masonry? The devil. Yeah, I can't worship the devil. If you say you worship, and then of course, I love this one. I love this one. Well, they just telling you the part that they want you to know, because at the higher level, they know things at the higher level that they ain't telling y'all at the lower level, and y'all like the pawns and stuff like that. Bruh, I got members of my family and people that I know that are at higher levels of Masonry that is higher than what most people even realize that they go. Most people think that Masonry is only 33 degrees. You are sadly mistaken. And that's one of the things. You think you know. They've some of the books on Masonry is freely available. You can go and get a Duncan's, and it's free. You can go get it, and you can read it. You can study it. You can learn a lot of the things. You can even fake your way as a Mason for a while to a new Mason, or a non-studious Mason, or a like there was a fake Mason that came and tried to talk to me a couple weeks ago, right? But as we began to talk, I realized that no, this is somebody who just got the book, read the book, and thinks he knows, because there are certain things you just won't know to do or say that's not in that book. If you're not practicing, if you're not meeting with your brothers, if you're not having conversations, if you're not doing the charity work, if you're not learning the things that's not in the books, then no, you're not. So you can go and read it. So, and I challenge you, go get a Duncan. It's called a Duncan. Go get a Duncan. You can read Duncan. You can get all kind of stuff about Masonry from that Masons actually read. Read it yourself. Read it yourself. I mean, it's the worst secret organization in the world, because it ain't secret. Shit, they walk around, they drive around with their stuff all on the car, shirts on, hats on, rings on, everything. But the thing about it is that people who talk about them the most don't even know what's going on. They don't even understand it. And are there some Masonic temples, some Masonic lodges, that have gone astray, that do evil things, that do wrong things? Are there some Masonic lodges that are everybody in there is actually, I haven't read the Satanic Bible. I've been meaning to read that one. But are there some Masonic lodges that are filled with racists? Yeah, they sure are. There are. Does that mean that all Masons are racist? No, they're not. The biggest lodge here in Atlanta, this is the biggest lodge in Atlanta, and it has the most power brokers in this city are members of this lodge. It's black and white. It's all races in there. And as a matter of fact, and it's called the Worshipful Master, but you don't worship the dude. But the thing about it is, they have had, and I think currently their Worshipful Master is a black dude. And it's the most powerful Masonic lodge in the city of Atlanta. Yeah. And it's mostly white. And that's right, the Elks Lodge. when I was a kid, I was on the drill team that was sponsored by the Elk Lodge. We traveled all the initial traveling that I did as a kid, because my mother worked 2.5 jobs to take care of 3 kids with a sixth grade education. I would not have went to California, to St. Louis, New Orleans, Miami, where else we go, Chicago, DC. I would not have went to those cities if I wasn't part of that drill team for the Elks Lodge. There are many inner city little poor black kids who went to all these different places, traveled all over the country to do these competitions, to have these drill competitions, which was sponsored by the Elks Lodge, because they would be during their big meetings and all that kind of stuff. Would not have happened. We learned discipline. We learned how to march. We learned how to do our uniforms, how to dress right. You know, all these great things we learned as kids. Never would have learned it if it wasn't for the Elks Lodge, right? So you say your grandfather was a Mason and an Elk, and a lot of Masons and Elk, a lot of Elk members are Masons as well. But so why do we get caught up? Why do we get caught up? Well, I like first. Let me just hit some negative aspects, and then we'll go to the more better ones. One of the reasons why a lot of people get caught up into a secret society is because they need something to blame. They need something to scapegoat. They need some organization, some people to say, my life sucks. And the reason why my life sucks is because this secret organization, the Bilderberg Group and the Bohemian Grove, to which I do, if anybody from the Bohemian Grove is listening, I want to be a member of the Bohemian Grove. Can I get an invitation? But I really want to go. But the thing about it is, we need something to blame. We need something to blame for why we aren't as financially successful in our lives. And let's do it with finances for the most part. We need a reason why we're not financially successful. And the reason why is because these people meet at the Bilderberg, they meet at the Bohemian Grove, and they discuss how to make the rich richer. They're discussing and they're figuring out how to keep the man down, keep the black man down, and keep the woman down, and keep people from being able to excel in their life. Now, do I believe these people, and is it reported? Because a dude did sneak in there once. Are they in there talking about business? Are they talking about world events and world affairs? Sure they are. Are they specifically in there saying that, hey, let's hold this little person down? You know, let me see who's on there. There's Alexander. We got to hold Alexander. No, they're not trying to hold Alexander down. Are they making policies? Sure. But whose responsibility is it to make sure that they utilize whatever policies are available in order to make life better? Now, could it have been like this is, what's the day there? I think the Bohemian Grove meet next week, right? I think it's next week that they meet, because it's the third Thursday in July or something like that. But they're going to meet, or they already met. But is it possible that last year's meeting, they decided, hey, you know what? The subprimes, we took a hit on those. But now that we know how to work the subprime market so that we come on top, come out bigger and better, let's deregulate some more, and let's get into the non-primes on mortgages. So that, but this time with our knowledge from the subprime mortgage, we know how to actually make money in a non-prime, in the subprime mortgage thing, but we're going to call it non-prime so that we can do this thing. Is that possible? Yeah. Is it more than likely? Sure. It could have been at the Bilderberg Group, could have been at the Bohemian Grove, could have been any of these things that they could have decided that. And that's why we got these non-prime mortgages that came out, that are coming out right now. And people are going to fall into the same trap that the subprime mortgage lenders set up for people who are minorities and lower income people. Sure, going to run right into that trap. But whose responsibility is it to navigate that better for themselves? It's yours. They may have set up that policy, but it's your responsibility not to fall trapped to it. It's your responsibility to say that, you know what? Yeah, right now my credit is too low for me to get a regular mortgage. So I'm going to take this non-prime mortgage, but in the meantime, I'm going to join Coach Ren's Financial Alchemy program, and I'm going to get my credit score up into the high 700s and possibly 800s over the next 2-3 years, and I'm going to invest my money, get my budget under control, and I'm going to know how to invest in other properties so I can start create me some cash flow, and then in 3 years I'm going to convert my non-prime mortgage into a regular mortgage, because now I got the credit score and I got a down payment to be able to do that. Can you navigate it that way? Do you have the patience to navigate it that way? Do you have the fortitude? Do you have the discipline to navigate it that way? That's how you run it. That's how you look at the policies and then figure out your pathway to navigate the policy instead of just being a victim of it. But we love to blame the secret society for the ills of our life. Do they test out vaccines that has horrible effects on third world nations and on minorities and poor people? They sure hell do. We know they do. Tuskegee proves that. I've been on board ships where I've seen this. This is it's labeled as malaria injections, but then the ones they gave us before we went into Liberia and getting ready to go into was Angola back then, getting ready to go into Angola, they look different. They say a malaria vaccination, but they look different than the ones that we shooting off over here to this humanitarian. So do we are there things like that going on? Are there human experiments going on that are disguised as something else? When Bill Clinton said cloning will not be allowed in America, that I will not allow cloning to occur in America, all that meant was that America is going to sponsor cloning in another country, just not in America, not on American soil. We're just going to sponsor it on some other in some other country. That's all that meant. So you got to read between the lines. So do these things happen? Of course they do. But there's when I'm dealing with a medical condition, I'm looking for my own homeopathic, natural, apothecary way of handling it myself. I'm not looking for some outside influence. And if I am, I'm going to research the heck out of it before I do it. If I do take some medicine, like I could probably, okay, do I suffer from some levels of PTSD? Probably do, from all the stuff that happened while I was in the military. Do I want to take drugs? Hell no. Just so I can get some money from VA, I'm not taking any drugs for that. The drug, it ain't worth it. It's not worth it to me to take some chemically induced drug just because sometimes, often, I wake up in nightmares about things that I've seen while I was in the military. Just because I wake up sometimes feeling like I'm drowning because I was supposed to be on I got held up and I missed a helicopter that wound up crashing and everybody died, and it was right on where the right where the African slave trade was happening, and everybody on the plane was eaten by a shark. So even if you would have survived the crash, you probably wouldn't have survived. I wouldn't have survived the shark. So do I sometimes wake up with having a nightmare that I'm on that helicopter? Sure. Do sometimes I wake up in cold sweats because of it? Sure. But am I going to go and take drugs just so I can get some money for the PTSD? That ain't gonna happen. Not doing it. Not taking the drugs. You know, and that's one of the prerequisites. You gotta have that drug in your system, and I'm not doing it. I'm not willing to do that. So, are there crazy things that go on? Sure, they are. Does that mean you can't navigate them? It doesn't. So one reason we like the conspiracy theories and we like the secret societies is because it gives us a scapegoat. It gives us somebody else to blame. Another reason why we like things like religion is because of that hereafter, and we like to scapegoat people because we like to say, well, they're going to get punished. You don't have to take medicine to receive your benefits. Okay, I'm gonna look into that one because the counselor here in the counselors I've seen told me I would have to take medicine. I'm just not taking anything. I got to get back to work. I appreciate you being here. I'm gonna finish this up, and we have no more than 20 minutes because then I got to open up my store. My employee doesn't get here till 2, so I got to open. But anyway, so the other reason why we look at it is because we have this idea of blessings later. That these people are doing evil things, so they're going to be punished, so they can have their riches and their wealth and their power here because the last will be first and that sort of thing. So we like to look at the conspiracy because then we don't have to worry about the fact that we're not doing enough in our lives to achieve what it is that we desire. There is nothing really that's holding you back from becoming a greater version of you. There's nothing that sounds so colloquial. There's nothing holding you back from becoming as powerful as you actually can be. Like, if you wanted to become a world leader, you can. You just have to figure out the pathway, your pathway to get there. You can. Whether it's through business, whether it's through charity, whether it's through creating an organization that has followers, whether it's through government, whether it's military, whatever it is, you can become a powerful person in your own right, just as powerful as any of these secret society people. And guess what? You probably get invited to become a member of the secret society. I did that in this one seminar. They were like, why do you want to make a lot of money? And I said, because I desire power. Why do you want power? Because I desire admittance into some of the more secret societies so that I can gain their knowledge. I have a hunger for knowledge. It's all about knowledge. I could care less about the society. I just want the knowledge. I do. When I was asked to become a Mason back in 1990, and you're not supposed to be asked. They're not supposed to recruit. But I was asked if I want to be a Mason. And back then, my question was, how knowledgeable are you guys? What do you know? I started interviewing them. What do y'all know? And when I realized that they weren't as knowledgeable as I was like, I don't want to join y'all. And they was like, why? I said, because y'all don't know enough. You don't know enough for me to be a part of it. I have to be on the people who know more than I do. Otherwise, what's the point? They were just in it for the party and to have their little rings and stuff. But that's my need for being. But you can become that. You don't have to look at secret organizations and think that they're holding me down. They're keeping me from achieving what it is I have. Like there's some kind of power over me. That's why people love religion. Because religion is this mysterious, invisible power that's over you. And that power is going to guide you and help you. And you're going to get the check in the mail because that power, when the power is inside you. Here, and down there, the power. We talked about that in other videos about the mental brain, your heart brain, and your sacral brain. Those three powers combined, used properly, you can create in your life whatever it is that you desire. But we love to hate on secret societies because they're easy to blame. And let me say, I'm not saying this just because I was a Mason, well, I am a Mason. It doesn't really matter. Hell, I was talking about this kind of stuff even before I ever became a Mason. Am I talking about this because I've achieved high levels of government? Which is irritating at times because I still get recruited to go join the government services. But no, I thought about these things when I was in high school. When I was in high school, me and this guy Mike Fleming used to sit at the table and have these kind of discussions in high school. But I've never hated any of these organizations. I just want to know more about them and what they do. And this is why we study all the people on here who study Kemet, who study Akhenaten and his mystery schools. If you study Kemet, then ask the question, why did Akhenaten start mystery schools? Why didn't he teach everybody? Because he recognized that not everybody can handle the information and not everybody can deal with the realities of what you have to do. Now, of course, they killed him 17 years later because he took away the power structure of the priests and priestesses and the merchants and the military. He took away their power, but in teaching that there was only one God, the Aten, that's why he changed his name from Imhotep the Fourth to Akhenaten. But from the mystery schools of Akhenaten, you had the Tat Brotherhood. You had many different groups who left there, but you had the Tat Brotherhood. Pythagoras went to the mystery schools of Akhenaten, but the Tat Brotherhood went, and they became the Essenes, and the Essenes became the Nazarenes, and Nazarenes, you get Jesus. All right? People don't like to talk about that part of it, but they came out of a mystery school. They came out of secret society. Most of your great leaders of the world, whether good or bad, and then depending upon what country you're on or whose side you're on, determines whether they're good or bad, because Trump is good to some people, he's bad to other people. Obama was good to some people, he's bad to other people. Alexander was good to some people, he's bad to other people. I'm talking about Alexander the Great, the Greek dude. Akhenaten was great for some people, he was horrible to other people. So it doesn't. If it doesn't involve you, it shouldn't be involved. Exactly, it shouldn't. It should not. And that's the thing, it should. And this is the other part of why we hate secret societies, but we want to flip this on its head. There are 6 core needs that everybody needs. Now, as long as you can satisfy 3 of them, let me rephrase. Most people only satisfy 3 of them. All right? The 6 core needs are certainty, uncertainty, significance, connections, growth, and contribution. Okay? So, but at the core, the first one we need is certainty. It's certainty. And this is the main reason why we hate on secret societies. Because we need certainty in our life. The first one is certain because without certainty, we don't know. We feel like we're exactly. We feel like we're just floating. We feel like anything can happen to us. We feel like we're out of control. Like the world is beating us down. But the thing about it, when you don't have certainty, you need someone to blame in order to create certainty. So blaming a secret society for the ills of the world gives you a level of certainty that I know what I'm doing, and I know I'm doing my best to make the world better. But the reason why my efforts aren't returning the investment is because of the certainty I have that the Freemasons and the Illuminati and the Bilderbergs and the Bohemian Grove and the Hellfire Club and the Skull and Bones and all these organizations, the Knights Templars, the Knights of Malta, all these groups they're fighting against me. Inky and Enlil are still fighting their war, and this is why we can't go to Antarctica, because the Anunnaki are actually living in Antarctica, which is why there are seven governments who are controlling the border, and you can't go past a certain extent of it, or they'll kill you, but nobody owns it, and this is why. And you know, the CIA and FBI, that completes your certainty. That completes your certainty as to why your life is the way it is. Not, well, I make $3,000 a month, but all my bills and all my expenses, and just to have a little fun, I wind up spending $3,300 a month. So I'm always robbing Peter to pay Paul. So I can't invest any money to build anything, so I can have more power, more money, more control over my life. I can't decide where I want to go, where I want to live. I can't just pick up and leave America and go live in some other country. That's crazy. I mean, so what? The Coach Renz put out a little thing about a week ago that said 5 places you can live with $30,000 a year and live very comfortably. I can't pick up and leave and go and live in another country. That's crazy. No, I need my certainty, and blaming them gives you your certainty. Then this next core need is uncertainty. Uncertainty. We do like to have some uncertainty, right? Now, uncertainty is an interesting thing, because the only uncertainty that we like is the ones that we choose. Is the ones we choose. We don't, like I said, we don't like the uncertainty that leaves us floating. We like the uncertainty that we can control. So the uncertainty of a secret society or religions and all this kind of thing is the fact that we know that they exist, but we don't know what they're doing fully. We know a lot about them. We're discovering. You know, we see the Boulets, and we see what they're doing, and we know there are MK mind control, MK ultra mind control going on with them, and Dave Chappelle is not the real one. He's a clone, and they got him. That's why he came back. They came back as a clone. They killed the rest of them. They killed him. There is a mystery and uncertainty to that feeds you, that feeds that thing inside you, that makes you keep being like something right around the corner. The boogeyman coming. You know, that uncertainty is right there, and it gives you energy, it gives you life, it gives you vitality, because it's like it combines with that certainty. Like, I'm certain that there's something going on that I'm uncertain about, but I'm learning more about it, so I'm getting certain about that uncertainty. That sounds crazy, but it follows kind of like the divine paradox in the law of mentalism. There is reality and there's unreality. They both work. They're both there. I'm black as far as this. I'm of the black race as far as America is concerned, but I know energetically race don't exist. So I got to have that. And then there's significance. Something has to be. You want to be significant in life, but you also need other things to be significant in your life. You're significant in your life because you know what I'm blaming. You know, I ain't being controlled by the Illuminati. See, I'm gonna be a singer. I'm gonna sing, right? But see, I ain't selling my soul like all them people in Hollywood. See, LeBron sold his soul to the Illuminati because, you know, he got called into that dude's office, and then he had this, you know, but LeBron was like, no, you can't get me in the backside, but they say, okay, well, you got to do that dude in the backside in order to get what you want to have in life. And so LeBron had to get that dude in the backside in order, and he did it, and so he sold his soul to the Illuminati so that he can become LeBron James. That's actually, I saw a video that said all of that, right? So, but that significance, like, see, but I know, and see, I got them skills, but I ain't giving in to the man like that. So my significance gonna be is for the people. I'm here for the people. I'm here to free the people. I'm here to make sure the people, you know, get the information so they don't get sucked into this Illuminati trap. What did you say earlier? You done sold your soul. Wait, you say your soul to the Illuminati got your mind, body, and soul. Yeah, that's what he said. So, but that significance is like I'm doing something. I'm out here doing something to fight these conspiracy groups. And you know, when I had these conversations and I teach some people and tell them about how they having this like they meeting this weekend and watch what happened on the news after they meet. Watch what happened, because see, as soon as they meet, something gonna happen, and that tragedy that happened. See, next weekend that tragedy that was them doing their human sacrifice to the god Moloch, right? Watch, right? And every time after the who's meeting this upcoming week? Oh, the Bohemian Grove. Every time after the Bohemian Grove meet, some tragedy happened. Last time, that tsunami hit because they got the underwater earthquake machine or HARP, hit that heart button, and it created that tsunami that killed all those people. That was the Bohemian Grove, enacting their human sacrifice to Molech. That's why they burned the owl, representing the death of the baby, sacrificing humans, sacrificing the baby. So that's what happened, right? So when a person can stand there and they can say all that, and then they can point, see that, see this, see that, it gives them significance in their life. So secret society are great for that, for giving you significance, right? And then the connection part, I'm all up into it, you all up into it, she's all up into it. Now we all connected, and we're gonna fight this thing. And then there's growth. You keep learning, and then there's contribution. How you gonna fight against it? How you gonna fight against it? I'm making those two short, the rest of them short because we're running out of time. But how you gonna fight against these? Now, of course, these human needs, these 6 human needs, can be done in a way that makes your life actually better. Without trying to. If you take the blaming, and you take the idea of waiting for something later out of the equation, then you can use certainty, uncertainty, significance, connection, growth, and contribution in such a way that your life becomes actually better and you become a more powerful being, right? You'll be able to manifest in life what it is that you actually want and desire. So when you take the blame, when you shift the blame to yourself for not actually doing what you can do to make your life better, then it's totally different. You're not focused on the secret society. And let's take something very simple. Very simple. If you join my financial alchemy program, or you just heard me talking about it on a whole bunch of my videos, 70 10 10 10, my 70 10 10 10 budget plan. All your necessities can only come up to 70%. Whatever it takes for you to live your life can only be 70% of your income. That's it. No more than 70% of your income. If you're already at 80, 90, whatever, you got to start working your way down. You got to cut expenses, cut these bills, get rid of credit cards, get rid of debt. Get rid of these things to bring it down. Maybe you got to move to a smaller place or move farther out from the city, but you got to cut yours down to 70%. Because once you're down at 70%, then you can take 10%, at least, at minimum, 10% of what you make, pay yourself first, the 10%. Put it into an account that when it is large enough, you can invest it. Then you're going to take 10%, and that's for savings, long-term savings and short-term savings. Then you're going to take 10%, and that is going to be for fun. This is your entertainment budget, because you got to have fun. If your life is all work and no play, then you're gonna have a horrible life. So then you got 10% for play. But now let's focus on that 10% that you're investing. And I'm gonna give you a play right here. And the people who are in financial alchemy, y'all better get ready for this play. This is what y'all getting ready for. All right. You're gonna take 10%. You're gonna save that up. Let's say in a few months you have $1,000 in there. You have $1,000. Now I'm going to send you to either a website, or I'm going to send you to an auction. You're going to look to buy a tax lien. I'm going to give you all the information to go to research, how to do the research, what you're looking for, what the conditions are, that sort of thing, how to check out the property, all these different things. If you can win it at the auction for $1,000, great. If not, you go to the after auction purchases and you buy things that didn't get purchased in the auction. I show you, you do the same research on it. And then you just go buy that tax lien outright. You buy that tax lien. Let's say you're in the state of Georgia, which is a lien state, and you got to hold on to it for a year. You sit there for a year. There are a few things you're going to make sure. First thing you're going to do is you're going to find out who owned the goddamn thing. You're going to call them up and see. You got 2 options when you call. First, you want to call them and say, hey, I bought your tax lien for $1,000. In order for you to get this property back, you got to pay me the tax lien plus 20%. So 1,000 plus another 20%, that's $1,200. So you got to pay me $1,200 and you get your paperwork back. You do that in the first month. If they pay it, then you get your $1,200. You at least made $200 off the deal. But if not, then they say that they're not going to, that they have no intention. You try to get them to do a quick claim deed, right? Yep, thank you. It sure is a must. But so you try to get them to do a quick claim deed. If they do it, great. Now you own the property outright, no mortgage. If they don't do the quick claim deed, then you know you got to wait a year. But you are going to maintain the yard of that property, whether you do it yourself or you pay somebody to do it. Even though technically, legally, you can't, you're not supposed to touch the property, you do it anyway. The reason why is because if the grass overgrows, the bushes overgrows, then the city, county will come in and they will pay somebody to do it. It'll be a code violation, and before you can deed that property, you're going to have to pay another tax lien on it. So you want to keep the yard up. Nobody's going to complain. No neighbor's going to complain that you're keeping the yard up. The city's not going to complain that you're keeping the yard up. So don't even worry about it. So you do that. A year goes by. Now you go and you pay the $200-$300, depending upon where it's at, to deed the property. Now you deed it. Now the property is titled to you, and all you paid was the upkeep, the tax lien, and the deed fees. Now you own it. No mortgage. You own it. Now the house may need some repairs, but before you even got started, you already did an estimate. You already had contractors come in and they evaluated how much it's going to cost to repair it. They didn't go inside, so you don't know the exact number, but you have a pretty good idea. But you also know what the current value of the property is, so you go get you a HELOC. You get you a HELOC, and then you fix the house up, you fix it up, and after you fix it up, some people do this to live in, but we do have an investment, so this can't be a live-in property for you. This is an investment property. So you get it, you do the HELOC, you fix it up. Now you flip it and rent it. You rent the property. We don't want to flip yet. Not in this market. This market is not about flipping for the most part. You want to acquire for the next 5-10 years. You need to acquire as many rental properties as you can, because the dollar is going to be short and the housing market is going to crash in the next 5 to 10 years. So you want to go ahead and do that, right? Flipping automobiles is good. Not as much profit margin in it, but you can make some. You got to do this volume. That's a volume play, but it's a good one if you can do it. I'm actually one of the persons that I'm coaching. That's what one person I've been coaching for the last year. That's what she's doing. We got her into vehicle flipping, and she's doing pretty good at it, and she's making some pretty good money. So vehicle flipping is good if you got to do a lot of research on it. So back to my example here. So you rent this property, all right? And let's say you're able, and you wouldn't find one that you couldn't rent for at least $800 and up, all right? So you're renting this property. Let's say you're renting it for $1,200. You're renting it for $1,200 after you pay the management fee and after you put a little bit of money into the bank for escrow for yourself, and for for your taxes and for escrow and for maintenance and repairs for later on. But you just fix it up, so you're probably not going to have to replace anything anytime soon. But you got it, $1,200. You're putting about $800 of that back in your pocket. Well, you're taking that $800 every month because you're going to keep working your job. Then you go over and you buy you some more tax lien. You're going to keep buying tax lien, as many tax liens you can buy over the next 5-7 years. You're going to keep on buying them. And there's a whole strategy about using HELOCs and using mortgages in order to fix up 3, 4, 5 houses and only having like one loan, but you fix 3 houses, and those houses are servicing the loan and as well as servicing the maintenance and everything else, and putting money in your pocket. You're gonna keep doing this until you're making enough money that enough money is being thrown off that you can keep this rolling and at the same time pay all your expenses. Then you can quit your job. So it may take you 3, 4, 5 years, maybe 7 years before you can quit your job. But to do this takes patience and discipline and coaching, but it takes a lot of that in order to do it. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna do another video about the fact that the most successful people in life have coaches. There's hundreds. People read books all the time. People go to seminars all the time. It's the ones who have coaches that actually go through the process and do it. But anyhow, so go join Financial Alchemy right now. But when you're doing that, and then all of a sudden after, say, 10 years, you have 20 properties that you're getting rent from. And in those 20 properties, you're able to put an average, because you'll get better and better at doing it, and you'll start having more and more money to find more higher end properties. You might actually add, you then start adding, well, like say 10 years, you have 20 properties. Then those 20 properties are throwing you off on average $1,000 a month of profit in your pocket. Now you're making $20,000 a month. Certainty, uncertainty, significance, connections, growth, contributions. You're not worried about a secret organization at that point. You're not worried about a secret. You're not talking about the Illuminati at that point. Hell, you are part of the Illuminati as far as some people would be concerned, because you're making $20,000 a month, which is 90% of the population is not making that kind of money every month. Then you take those 20 properties and you leverage those to go buy you a 20 unit apartment complex or a 40 unit apartment complex. And when you buy that, now you got one property with 40 units and you just, or 20 units, let's say 20 units in it. You just doubled your money in 1 year. It took you 10 years, but in 10 years you just doubled. You just went from 20,000 a month. Now you will have more expenses with an apartment complex, but maybe from the apartment complex you're putting 11 in your pocket, 12 in your pocket. Let's make it easy. Let's say you're putting 10 in your pocket from this one purchase. Now you got $30,000 a month coming into your pocket, right? Oh, we're back, Alexander. But now you got $30,000 a month coming into your pocket. So now that you got $30,000 a month coming in your pocket, you damn sure part of the Illuminati. You're not a millionaire yet, but you're part of some group. Now you're looking at you like you part of the conspiracy, right? So how much these six core needs, if you're not achieving in your life what it is that you want to achieve, of course you want to scapegoat it and blame somebody else. But once you take blame out by you actually doing something in your life that changes your life, that elevates you to these levels, all of a sudden life is different now. Life is completely different. You're not blaming the Freemasons. You're not blaming the Bilderbergs, the Illuminati, the Clintons, the whomevers, the 13 families. You're looking at Rothschild saying, what can I learn from them so that my family can last, so that 200 years from now, my family is still wealthy as hell. I want you to think about that. Nobody sits around saying, oh, you know what, them Vanderbilts, boy, them Millens, the Millens, or the Fords, or what's another family that ain't about nothing now? Any of them those families who used to be rich, who used to be world dominating rich, any of those families, nobody's talking about a Carnegie now. Nobody's talking about the Carnegies. But you're talking about the Rothschilds. Why? Because exactly what Naval just said. The Rothschild has mastered the art of power. They've mastered that art of power. And when you're making $30,000 a month, and I'm saying it could take you 10, 15 years to do this. It could take you less, depending on your commitment to it. When you've mastered that, when you're making $30,000 a month, your mindset is now, what can I learn from these Rothschilds? How did Mayor Rothschild do his family, teach his family, raise his family, so that generation after generation after generation after generation continues to grow? Remember that fifth need is growth. How do they continue to grow? How are they passing down this wealth over and over again? I mean, one of my goals in life, one of my bucket lists, is for the Reed family to become the subject of the conspiracy theorist. To be so powerful that we become the subject of conspiracy theories. Yeah, it sure is. So, have you read the 48 Laws of Power? If so, what do you think of the book? And are there similar books? Oh, that book almost got me into. I got to get off this thing in a minute here because I got to open my store. But that 48 Laws of Power book created a huge argument between me and my kid's mom when we were married. I read the 48 Laws of Power. Oh shoot, I'm trying to put in my head where I was living. That'll tell me what time frame. Oh, I read that when we went to Bosnia, right? So that had to be in like 92, I believe. Yeah, 92. I read that in 92 when I went to Bosnia. I read it on the boat, studied it. Actually, and after reading that led me into Machiavelli, The Prince by Machiavelli. That's a great read as well. I came home and I told my wife, I was like, babe, you got to read this book because this is what we about to do. We about to be like this. So she read that book, and every time she's like, this book is mean. This book is so mean. They so cruel. How could some people be this way? But it was about power. See, power, if you guys understand the crown chakra is blocked when you maintain earthly attachments. when you release your earthly attachments, and in order to do that, you have to have control over your emotions. You just see things as they are, not as you want them to be. All right. Yep. Robert Greene. Robert Greene has a lot of good books, to be honest. Um, she thought everything was mean. Right? She thought everything was mean. I saw it as abilities, talents to learn, skill sets to learn. Um, we hate Christopher Columbus as black people because we know what he really did. But Christopher Columbus did not know how to sail a boat to save his life, didn't know how to read the stars to save his life. But he knew how to court the Spanish court. And he knew that the Moors was on their way out and that Ferdinand and Isabella was on their way up. And he knew who to court. And he would come in there and he knew how to tell stories. And he would tell them stories and keep them entertained and ingratiated himself and create a fake history of himself. And then he convinced them to finance what he was doing. Now, whether or not it worked, I mean, it worked to a certain degree for him, but he convinced them of that. Now, one of the things that was interesting, that he asked for them to make him the Grand Admiral of the Navy, and that him and his family would receive 10% of all earnings from anything, any lands that he discovered, for perpetuity for his family. They did not grant him that. If they had granted him that, the Columbus family would be the wealthiest family in the world. But he had the mindset to ask for it. And a lot of us won't do stuff, won't become stuff because we're too damn afraid to ask for it. We have to learn how to ask for it. So, ooh, y'all gonna make me late. The problem is I find it difficult to use these laws in situations, but of course it takes mistakes to learn. Right? It's a great book. Y'all can go for a walk with me now. You do have to learn some things. You do have to. There's a lot. You're not going to be able to put every one of those laws into place to action, as you have to actually gain certain levels of understanding in order to put those laws into place in the first place. Because not all those laws apply to your life right now. How you doing? Not all of them apply to your life. Oh, I'm in the mall. Welcome to the mall. It just opened. And I haven't turned on any lights. But those laws are very good for understanding. I use those laws to raise my kids. Some of those laws I use to raise the kids. I use some of those laws to teach my kids how to do certain things, how to be in certain ways. And you can do that. But it's a really good read. I would say go ahead. I would say read it and study it. See the brownies I made? Brownies. I make all those. But it is a good book. But I do appreciate you guys for being here. Y'all weren't expecting this part, right? I gotta make some waffle cones a little bit later. Make the place smell good. So any other questions? Can I do a video on applying the 48 laws? Man, that would have to be like a whole video series to do that one, because, you know, to condense it down. Let me tell you some yes. All my unpopped kernels, well, my pop kernels, are gonna get made into some stuff. I make some cinnamon toast crunch and some caramel and some ATL pop. One of my customers in Abu Dhabi just connected with me last night. When she orders a lot for me to ship to her because she wants like 6 months worth. But no, we can do one on the 48 laws. It's been a long time. Like I said, I read that book in '92. I have done a lot of I skimmed through it from time to time, rereading it. I've listened to the audiobook of it a couple times. But give me a little bit of time to research it a little bit more again, which would be good for me too, because some of that stuff I need to get back and follow. But yeah, we can do that. We're going to do that. We're going to do a series of that. It's going to be a series. It can't be one day, because you're talking about 48 laws. 48 laws is a lot to do in one video. I mean, that would be like 4 hours of a video, probably. So we'll break it down. now, and right now I'm still trying to finish, and I know my patrons, I apologize. We're on chapter 9. We're halfway to chapter 9. Oh, thank you, appreciate that. Um, but we're on chapter 9 of on Patreon. So let me finish that first. And actually, I'll finish that one. I was going to do The Richest Man in Babylon. We're going to finish Outwitting the Devil, and then I'm not going to do it on Patreon. The Richest Man in Babylon, we'll do that here on YouTube. And I don't think I had another book behind that one. So 48 Laws of Maxwell, Robert Greene's 48 Laws will be after The Richest Man in Babylon. I have to do The Richest Man in Babylon because I promised it about a month ago that that'll be the next book, because we did the Kabbalion before Outwitting the Devil. So, but I appreciate you guys. I gotta go now because it's time for me to, I'd rather talk to y'all all day than actually do this work. That's why I build it. Get employees, then I can do this because this is what I like to do. And then Matt, see, don't try to add the books in now. Don't try to add the books in. See, eyes wide open, trying to take control. But but I appreciate you guys. I look forward to you guys. I appreciate you guys a lot because you support the channel today. And remember, it's not negotiable.